Hi folks, welcome to Chapter 9. Today we're talking all about nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication accounts for over 70% of our communication, from what we choose to wear and our appearance, to those nonverbal gestures like a thumbs up, to even our tone of voice. So let's dig into this important part of the communication process. Today we're going to learn how to understand nonverbal strategies to improve our presentation and recognize the importance of eye contact, movement, facial expression, attire, and all that goes into the nonverbal communication process. So you can watch this video on your own, but this is one of my favorite videos. I'm going to pause it. It's called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds. And so much of it starts with that nonverbal connection that you make with a person. Within 10 seconds of a conversation, subconsciously, we're trained, our minds go to whether we like a person or we don't like a person. And a lot of that has to do with posture and body language and that communication piece that can really make or break you, especially in a job interview type situation. So definitely take a look at that video. Now, when you think about getting evaluated on a speech, you are evaluated on those nonverbals: eye contact, vocal variety, expression, gestures, and movement. This, again, attributes to all of our overall delivery of our message, but it's comprised of that nonverbal piece. Visual aids are also really important and help us to understand a topic even further. Our poise, whether or not we practice, and so often our poise is so connected to our nonverbals, and then obviously our evidence, our claims, our words as well. So, what does that all mean? When it comes to nonverbals, you want to make sure you're standing up straight. Give yourself a couple of seconds to collect yourself before you start speaking in a day-to-day conversation or a formal speech. Dress the part. Think about your attire and coordinate it for success. Allow yourself to move naturally and enunciate. Another nonverbal thing to think about is the rate at which we speak, keeping energy connected and that eye contact too. So I encourage you to stand up, get in front of a mirror, and take a look at your posture. Take a look at your nonverbals as you are talking. And as you're practicing, for sure, make sure that you are incorporating nonverbal components. Now, practice doesn't necessarily make perfect, but it makes it permanent. So how you practice is very key. So one thing I always say to students is to practice your speech standing up. Think about that posture. Be thinking about the energy and the nonverbals that you're going to be using, and how you practice can make a permanent impact on your delivery. Good delivery is an art form. It is just like developing your words or creating a piece of art or engaging in an athletic competition. In order to be successful, you have to practice it, and you have to think about your voice and how your body is moving in conjunction with your speech. Effective speakers know how to use their body to impact their message. When you think about a politician, they have very specific gestures. Like I know a lot of presidents use that fist with the thumb out here to emphasize ideas. They're trained, they're poised, they are ready to use their movement, their gestures. Eye contact is important in our culture as well, and that personal appearance piece. Suddenly I see how important eye contact is. When we think about eye contact, we want to make sure that it is used intentionally. It builds connection, it shows confidence, it keeps your audiences engaged. However, staring too long or not looking someone in the eye, we know there are mistakes that can be made too. Eye contact during a speech needs to create a connection and rapport, and it's about 80% of the time. We know if we stare down, I really like this meme from a baseball game of this goofy kid staring down the camera. That gets awkward when we use it too much, but maintaining eye contact for a couple of seconds, 3 is what your book says, so that you're not just scanning the crowd or you're not staring one person down, is key. Remember, there are cultural contexts when using eye contact, and so it really depends on your audience. If you're working in an international setting, you want to be respectful and understand that especially in certain Asian cultures, direct eye contact is considered disrespectful. So understanding that that component is a great way to acknowledge and celebrate all cultures and differences. So make sure that you keep that in mind when you're speaking with a much wider audience. When it comes to movements, use movement purposely. Consider the space that you are delivering your speech in. Think about, if there is a podium, you don't want to be gripping the podium so much that you're shaking it and things like that, but you want to do it intentionally. Make sure that your hands are not moving all over the place, or that you're not stiff as a board, or you're shifting back and forth or twisting in different ways. So keep that in mind. And also think about facial expressions, and this is why I think practicing in a mirror or recording yourself and watching back your video is so important. Our emotions, our pathos, our emotional connection, they can make us more credible or less credible. And think about cultural connections when it comes to facial expressions as well. Attire, dress for success. Avoid wearing distracting clothing, and notice that clothing can influence your credibility. So if you show up to a speech wearing sweatpants, people might not be as interested as if you come in a nice professional attire. Remember, you can do it. Nonverbals takes just as much practice as verbal delivery, and so consider all these things. And like good athletes watch film, good musicians listen to themselves perform, I highly encourage you to watch your film and record yourself when you're giving your speeches.